I would now like to ask Mr. Robert Clark to reply on behalf of the guests. So thank you, Robert.
Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Chairman, for your kind words. I'm very honoured and privileged to have this opportunity to say a few brief words in representation of myself and fellow guests. Due to the COVID-19 and now COVID-21, we're experiencing a very different burn supper, unfortunately. If it wasn't for modern technology, I wouldn't be speaking to you now, as I'm 7,000 miles away, so I'm very grateful for this. My first experience in the Dorai burn supper was way back in 1983. I was a total lot of older members, such as Jimmy Nisbet, Billy Walker, Bill Hudson, Tom Wilson, to mention just a few, who had such vast experience in the matters of burns. 23 years later, in 2006, I had the immense pleasure once again. This was the only time that all my brothers and my father were present at the burn supper. So that night for me, gentlemen, was my immortal memory. I know that most of you have tonight have had your haggis and are now drinking some whiskey, and while celebrating the 196th anniversary dinner, but I thought it fitting to tell you a wee story about myself and my love of haggis. I remember as a youngster, I used to go into Palaki's Cafe for a haggis supper after leaving the booze boutique, or pubs as they're known there, to enjoy a haggis supper. When I left in '85 to come here to Argentina, I thought that my haggis days were over. I thought, well, that's it, forget it. I mean, no more haggis. Until one November night, my mum and dad were over visiting me in Argentina, and we went along to the St. Andrews night at the Sheraton Hotel. When the waiter brought out the haggis, I sent my compliments and I said, look, that's a wonderful haggis you've sent out here. I'd like to thank you for it. So later on, the guy came out, after we had a few shandies and a few drinks, the guy came out and he thanked me and he said, look, I thank you for that. So we had a wee natter. So I found out that the guy came from Irvine, but was living in Paris. But he was over in Buenos Aires doing a cooking course. I was about to leave and he came out from the kitchen with two enormous haggis, which I took home, and I had for about 2 months. I was eating haggis constantly. And it was really wonderful. So what I meant to say with this was, hopefully, when things get back to normal, I'll get back to Scotland again, and I'll be eating haggis again with all the group once more. So with this in mind, gentlemen, I'd like to ask you to join me in raising your glasses to the Dorai Burns Club. Yep.
Burns Club.
Thanks, then.
Thank you, Robert.